To the crisis now in South Sudan, where yet another ceasefire agreement has been signed by South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar. The regional bloc IGAD met in Addis Ababa on Sunday to once again try and get the two to agree on the terms of a unity government. Here's Susan Mongele with more on that story.
Under the agreement, President Salva Kiir would remain president in a new administration, while Machar would be reappointed vice president. The warring sides also agreed to abide by a ceasefire deal signed in January 2013 but frequently violated. The chairperson of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn said he and other regional leaders were confident the two leaders will respect the deal.
I am confident that the two leaders will respect what they have signed today. In the coming February, we will see that the comprehensive peace agreement will be signed. This is what the people of South Sudan are expecting, and the people of the region and also the international community are expecting from the leaders. Failure to do so will have a grave consequence to all of us, and specifically to the leaders of South Sudan.
While welcoming the deal, the rebels, however, said many more details need to be ironed out before the pact can be labeled a power-sharing agreement. After signing the latest agreement, Machar, formerly Kiir's vice president, said the two sides would hold more discussions on the functions of the provisional government. Few other details were revealed after the frantic late-night talks. Riot groups have said both factions have been responsible for ethnic killings and other abuses, driving the nation to the brink of famine.
They fired us, we defended ourselves, must not be allowed, because there is no need of firing at any of the other parties, so that the other one will also respond in kind. A complete end to this cessation of hostilities and to the crisis is expected in South Sudan as of this morning.
The conflict in South Sudan erupted in December 2013 and has rumbled on since then, despite several commitments by Kiir and Machar to halt the violence. Susan Mongele, CCTV.
All right, let's get you more now on that deal and its implications. And I'm joined here in studio by John Gachie, an expert in South Sudanese affairs. John, thank you very much. I mean, there've been agreements signed on South Sudan. How different is this one, though? And do we expect this one exactly to hold?
Thank you, Beatrice. I wish I would say we would expect that it would hold. For me, I would call it an exit agreement, in which both parties were hoping to get an excuse to get out of Addis, because there wasn't much progress, as it were. Now, I would say, in my view, is that we have not addressed the core issues. They're just playing round and round. So for IGAD, for the parties, this agreement makes them look nice.
Well, it does make them look nice, but as you mentioned there, we have not talked about the core issues. What are the outstanding core issues that are ensuring that the two parties are really not meeting at the table?
The core issues are at about three, in my view: political, security, and economic. Now, at this particular instance, they're discussing the political issues. They have not discussed the core issue, security and military disposition, the ceasefire as it is, and also power sharing. So they are just moving around in circles, so to speak, because the key issue is what happens militarily on the ground. And that has not been agreed. That has not been discussed. Will they have two armies? Will they have one army? Will IGAD come in? And in what sense will Ugandan troops be pulled out? Or will Sudan perhaps give more of its troops? Those are the core issues. So what we are seeing here is really, what shall I say, is peripheral issues.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, there are peripheral issues here, but the African Union and IGAD have also warned that this time around there will be unspecified action. It does sound rather dire there, though, from the African Union and IGAD. Do we really expect them to take any action? Will this hold any fire?
The world has, and the people of South Sudan have been desperately looking for some, what shall I say, putting teeth. And IGAD and African Union have not. I wish they really mean what they are saying this time round. My own take, Beatrice, I don't think so, because there are so many interlinked interests: security, military, and economic. Can IGAD, in this case specifically, three countries, Sudan, Uganda, and Ethiopia,
Right.
could they really sacrifice their political, economic, and security interest? I don't see that. Can OAU, the African Union, as it were, can they put sanctions, individual or travel sanctions? They haven't. They've been going around threatening. And I think for both parties, I don't see any move now. We are told, and Beatrice, we are told that perhaps even inside the IGAD meeting,
Right.
there were serious differences between President Museveni and President Bashir on the way forward. And indeed, they were threatening each other. So the key military issues have not been addressed. Is IGAD ready? I doubt it. They are only, in my view, and this is the tragedy of it all, is that they're setting everybody on a wild goose chase.
All right.
Yeah.
I just want to go to the appearance of the government, and from what we know, though, under the new agreement now, President Salva Kiir maintains his position as president, while Riek Machar will be reappointed as a vice president. What more, though, do we know about how the government exactly will operate?
Well, let's put it this way. We are going back to what there was. 16 months ago, Riek Machar was a vice president. Remember? And they fell out. Now, even if they were to agree now, there is a very interesting internal dynamic. What happens to the current vice president, who then represents a fairly large constituency, what is in South Sudan called the Equatorians? Will he, as it were, willing to sacrifice his position for Riek Machar? I don't know, and I doubt that very much, because that will open the ball game. Will there be two vice presidents, Riek Machar being the first, and possibly one IGAD being the second vice president? Those are the key issues that needed to be done. And neither, and this is very important, Beatrice, neither of those two principles, in my view, and specifically Riek Machar, have as much control over their military forces on the ground. And they'll have to sell this very fast.
All right,
Yes.
John Gachie, following all the developments there for us in South Sudan. Thank you very much indeed.